Well, more chaos in Gaza as desperate Palestinians try to get their hands on aid. Hospital officials said 4 people died after crowds stormed a World Food Programme warehouse in central Gaza. Limited deliveries have recently resumed following a nearly 3-month Israeli blockade.
Gazans are risking death in the search for life-saving aid. A desperate crowd ransacks the United Nations warehouse, tearing down metal walls and carrying off anything they can find. Shots ring out. It's unclear who was firing. Gaza hospital officials said 2 people died from gunshots while 2 others were crushed to death in the crowd. The World Food Programme facility was storing supplies ready for distribution. Funerals were held for people whose relatives say they were killed as they attempted to collect food at a different facility in southern Gaza on Tuesday. The Israeli military has denied that its troops fired at crowds, saying they issued warning shots into the air.
He went to get aid for his 2-year-old daughter. His wife is pregnant.
On Wednesday, Gazans returned to the new aid distribution compound near Rafah, which is run by the Israeli and US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It says it has handed out some 14,000 food packages. Gazans described chaotic scenes.
You go in there, take and leave. People are stepping on the food and have made a mess. There was barely anything left. I picked up everything from the floor. This is all I could find. 5 bags of chickpeas and 5 kilos of rice.
Israel is only allowing a limited amount of aid into Gaza under the new plan. The UN is calling for an end to the restrictions.
During the ceasefire,
the Palestinian ambassador to the UN broke down while describing the humanitarian situation in Gaza.
It's unbearable. How could anyone tolerate this horror? Excuse me, Mr. President. I have grandchildren. I know what they mean to their families. And to see the situation of the Palestinians without us having hearts to do something is beyond the ability of any normal human being to tolerate.
But Israel's Prime Minister defended the new aid scheme, saying it is needed to eliminate Hamas.
In the past 2 days, we have been making a dramatic shift toward the complete defeat of Hamas. We are taking control of the food distribution in the Gaza Strip. This is their money machine. This is what fuels their terror army, and this is what dismantles their governing capabilities. We are committed to eliminating both their military and governmental capacities, and we are doing both, and we will achieve both.
But after more than 600 days since the Hamas October the 7th terror attack, some Israelis are demanding their government make a deal to return the remaining hostages instead of pursuing the war.
All right, let's get more on this from DW senior international correspondent Fanny Fashar in Jerusalem. Fanny, what more can you tell us about the scenes we saw in that report at the World Food Programme's warehouse?
Right, and those images, that footage that we just saw, clearly show that people are in need of the very basics of food, of aid to survive. So this is what's been playing out not only here in central Gaza, but also in other parts of the Strip, as this nearly 3-month blockade that's been imposed by Israel and partially lifted last week has really taken a toll on people trying to survive. Now, what happened exactly at this warehouse, which, by the way, belongs to this UN agency, World Food Programme, so they were part of this network, in fact, before the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, this US-backed Israeli aid mechanism came into play. And there was a warehouse with bags of flour, and as people found out about it, they stormed the warehouse. You can see this crowd. You can see how people are desperately trying to get a bag of flour. And while this entire situation descended into chaos, we're hearing shots fired, unclear by whom. Also unclear at this point just how many people have been killed or basically they are dead because of a stampede that started due to this chaotic situation in the crowd. So while we cannot confirm the number of people eventually killed or injured or dying as a result, what we can certainly say that very likely so this is not going to be the last chaotic scene emerging there from Gaza, as people, the way this has continued, this entire war, but especially since that ceasefire came to an end beginning of March and no aid has been let in, you can really see the desperation here evolving, especially in central Gaza, but also the north, because this is the part of Gaza where hardly anything gets to, while the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is promising to set up more distribution sites. But people are hungry, obviously, every single day.
Funny, the new Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has said it will expand its centres, but did temporarily halt operations on Wednesday. What's the situation now?
They want to resume their operations. They're talking about a second distribution being set up in the south. They said that there are at least about 3 distribution sites that are to start operating in the south and 1 in central Gaza. In the meantime, Israel's UN ambassador said that in the immediate future, quote, Israel would let UN aid in to operate in the Strip. But also, of course, Israel said that they only want that to happen if the United Nations and their agencies operate through the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Exactly what the United Nations has been pointing out over and over again. They do not want that because they say that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, this US-backed Israeli aid mechanism, does not adhere to the principles of independence or humanity. So while we're hearing, of course, also this very emotional plea there playing out in the Security Council of the United Nations by the Palestinian UN ambassador pleading really for help, for a change in Gaza, a lot will come down to, well, first, diplomatic pressure. Is the Security Council, they're able to pass a resolution without the United States, for example, being a key veto power, vetoing it, as they have done several times over the course of this war. But also the question, is there going to be a humanitarian pause here, a ceasefire, which of course is also needed so that people don't have to get aid literally under fire. But at this point, there's no breakthrough, while the United States says they're trying everything to broker a ceasefire. But as far as things stand, no progress there yet.
DW Senior International Correspondent Fanny Fashar in Jerusalem, thank you.